Good afternoon, my name is Jeannine, and I have the pleasure of being here today with the magnificent motivational speaker. He's touched millions of lives globally, and he's well known for his power words. You gotta be hungry, you've got greatness within. And my favorite, my all-time favorite, you gotta believe in yourself. Anything is possible. I have the pleasure of being here with Mr. Les Brown. Mr. Les Brown.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
And I have the pleasure of being in your presence. Thank you so very much. It's always a treat when great people meet.
It is. That's awesome. You know, I mentioned to you earlier that a few years ago I saw you speak, and I actually made it a commitment to meet with you, and I told my husband and I told my kids, and I declared it to the universe that I was going to meet Les Brown. And today I feel like a kid in a candy store.
Well, thank you so very much.
So
I'm so glad to be here with you, and I'm excited as well. I'm like a little kid. People hear me laugh. They said, "Why do you laugh so much?" I said, "Because I'm a kid. I tickle myself."
That's awesome. And Les, I wrote you a little note, and the day that I saw you, and I said, you know, that I had a dream. I have a dream in my heart, and everybody has dreams and aspirations. However, I believe that many people stall, or they stop, or they find an excuse. And that wasn't my case, because I'm determined and I'm committed to make my dreams come true, and you persuaded me to do that. And today you're making one of my dreams come true, and I want to ask you something. How do you do that? How do you move people by the masses to make their life great, to live out their passion?
Well, mine comes in the way of speaking, but here's something I'm going to do for you that's going to make you very special, even more so. And that is the goal that I have now. I'm in a place where the Russian author, Leo Tolstoy, he said, "As I face inevitable death, what and the purpose and meaning of my life that will not be undone or destroyed when I'm gone?" And so my goal now is to train 7 speakers to become global voices of change. 7. Now I only need 6 because I will make you that one. And the reason is because of the people that I influence, and the people that you influence, and the people that they influence and transform, that work will not be undone or destroyed when we're gone, because we're in God's pyramid. We learn, we earn, and we pass it on. I'm 72, and so now it's to pass on what I've learned and to make it possible that 7 other individuals can go out here, and what you're going to do will be far greater than the work that I have done. Mr. Washington, who saw me and transformed my life. I'll never forget, I was in his classroom looking for another student. He said, "Young man, go to the board and work this problem out for me." And I said, "I can't do that, sir." And he said, "Why not?" I said, "I'm not one of your students." He said, "Go to the board and work the problem out anyhow." And I said, "I can't, sir." And so the other students started laughing, saying, "He's a twin. He's Leslie. His brother is Wesley. Wesley's smart. He's DT. He's the dumb twin." And they erupted in laughter. And I said, "I am, sir." And he came from behind his desk and he said, "Don't ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality." And he destroyed the story that I bought in about myself. How people live is a result of the story they believe about themselves. And I believed what they called me. My grades reflected that I was the dumb twin. And he told me there were 3 things that's very important to becoming successful in life. He says, number 1, you don't get in life what you want. You have to get in life what you are. You've got to work on your mind. Number 2, you have to look at your relationships. Practice OQP, only quality people. If you're the smartest one in your group, you need to get a new group. And 3, he said, develop your communication skills, because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. And he was a speech and drama instructor at Booker T. Washington High School in Miami. And even though I was in special education, because I was labeled educable, mentally retarded, and put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade, failed again when I was in the 8th grade, and no college training, I volunteered to work the sets when he had plays, to hang around him, watch him, and to study him. And I learned how to become an effective communicator through watching him and observing him, because I was not able to be mainstream because I was in special education, but I learned everything I could by watching him.
So you mentioned something, you were diagnosed.
Yes.
And you were labeled. However, you overcame that through perseverance, through courage, through Mr. Washington. So
Yes.
everybody should have a Mr. Washington.
Yes,
Is that correct?
or Mike Williams, because you have different people at different levels of
Right.
your life. I was at WVKO radio station in Columbus, Ohio, and I was a popular radio personality in the morning. And Mike Williams, who wrote the book, The Road to Your Best Stuff. Remember that, The Road to Your Best Stuff. I wrote the foreword for that. And he said, "Hey, Brownie." And I said, "What?" He said, "You know why you go see Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins and Dr. Norman Vincent Peale?" I said, "Yes, I like their message." He says, "Not just because of that." He said, "That's in you. You like to motivate people. You like to do that too." I said, "Mike, I can't do that. I don't have any college education. I've never worked for a major corporation." He said, "Brownie, listen, all of us are born the same way, dumb, naked, and speechless. You could learn."
So true.
And so he became my strategist and my mentor for over 47 years. And he taught me how to penetrate and be able to develop a level of credibility for AT&T, Procter & Gamble, McDonald's Corporation, IBM. This man saw this Les Brown. I didn't see him. I had no idea this Les Brown existed. And sometimes I believe that there are periods in your life that sometimes you have to believe in somebody's belief in you until your belief kicks in.
That's right, and that's what your legacy, the legacy that you're leaving, what you're training, what you're encouraging people to do, is bringing out their greatness, being hungry, being
Yes.
driven, maximizing their potential. Correct?
Yes.
And let me ask you a question. With all the tendencies that are happening and all the innovation and change and technology, how do we succeed? How do we become the greatest version of ourselves right now?
Well, we've always been doing it without thinking about it because we've been going through creative destruction for a long time. Things that have been created and destroyed jobs. I used to be an elevator boy, and then somebody automated it. I used to work in a bowling alley, and people knocked the pins down. We would jump down and straighten the pins up. Somebody created an electronic tray. And so I remember when girls are in school, what do you want to be? I want to be an operator. I want to be an information operator. Now there are automated voices that can respond to your voice and your questions. And so we've always gone through that, and we always are going to evolve. Over 20,000 jobs are lost every day, according to the Department of Labor. And 50% of the jobs today can be done by robots, and another 30% will be done by artificial intelligence. However, we will evolve, and new industries will be created. We will never stop growing. And so the name of the game is, every day we have to get up and ask ourselves the question, who is it I have to be? What is it I have to do? And die to who we've been to give birth to who we must become. That's an ongoing process.
I see. It's interesting with all this new technology, how we're missing out on everything. The other day, the Washington Post put a famous violinist in a subway at core time where everyone's going by, and this guy was using an incredible masterpiece of a violin and touching and playing Beethoven and showing his skill, and no one acknowledged him but one boy and a couple of ladies for a couple of seconds, because everyone was so consumed by their phone and their emails that they couldn't engage on this beauty, this masterpiece that was happening right then. So when we talk about technology and its evolution, and when I initially wanted to interview, you said we could interview over the phone, but I thought, no, I want to see him, I want to feel him, I want to hug him, I want to embrace him, because there's nothing like the human touch, There's nothing like going to at the end of your days and looking back and said, I hustled and I gave it my all, and I strived to be my best, and yes, I failed. And I think that that's what stops people, failure, the fear of failure. How have you overcome that?